Hi everyone, I'm Hunter. I'm with the BSR social media team, and I'm here with Serious Goose.
Hi, Hunter.
Hi. So can you guys introduce yourselves and tell me what you play in the band?
Yeah, I'm Jack. I play guitar.
Sorry.
No, I have nothing to say.
Maz, I play bass.
I'm Mia, I sing.
I'm Ryder, I play guitar.
I'm Ray, I drum.
Cool. So like right off the bat, Serious Goose, how'd you guys get your name, and how'd you guys come together as a band?
The name was something we kind of settled on more than chose. It was a placeholder name that we never really thought of anything better for, and then got stuck with it. There's not really much more to it than that.
That's true. It was a random, one-off comment during our, first rehearsal or something that you could still find preserved on, one of our very old voice memos or whatever. But, yeah, that was it. That was it. Stuff.
And how'd you guys meet as a band?
That's very piecemeal.
I met Ryder outside of Arch Braun when he was at a birthday party he didn't want to be at. And I met Jack in the Zoom of computers and music class, and then I saw him at jazz jams, and then I went up to him and I was like, you are the only person who shows the camera in our virtual class. And I was like, I think your posters are very cool. And then we became friends after that. And then I met them because Ryder knew them.
Yeah, so I met Maz, outside of one of the dorms, beginning of orientation week, because I had a Jazz at Lincoln Center shirt, and they knew that from playing there, I believe. But we were in a jazz combo our first semester. And I also sort of vaguely knew who Ray was through, I think we were in a music theory class together. But towards the end of that semester, Maz was like, do you want to come jam with me and Ray a little bit? We're looking for a guitar player. And I was like, sure. So we jammed a little bit. But then around the same time, the sort of Mia Jack thing was also starting up. And they both felt a little bare sounding. And I was like, what if we just sort of put them together?
There's a slight discrepancy, though, because I also had the same idea because I'd met Mia through a world music ensemble. And you had said you had been starting something, you were there for the first two classes, you had said you had been starting something up. And I had the same thing where I was going to see if I could recruit you. So there was
I don't remember you at all. I don't remember that at all.
That's
Whoa.
great. Wouldn't it really be really funny if one of us was making up all our answers?
Oh, for sure.
If you had to guess who it was.
Technically, the first iteration would have been me. I met Maz through a mutual who ghosted both of us.
Nice. Your Instagram says you are a skramz-indie-pop-gaze band. What does that mean?
I don't know.
To be real, the first 5 songs we wrote, which were the songs that made it onto the EP, were kind of all over the place, and we knew that. It was a lot projects for a recording class 4 of us were in, and it was we need to describe ourselves now because that's a thing you have to do when you play shows and stuff, and we were just crammed together as many genre names as we could. I feel like we've settled on something more cohesive nowadays, but the label stuck.
Yeah. And what's your EP called? Viewers.
If I could, I'd write a book. It's a lyric from one of the songs that's on there, Everyday Life. Or, I guess I should say, it's very close to a lyric of the song. It's a couple of the words are a little bit different. No, because you cut out the I'd.
Oh.
If I could, there's something that you cut out. I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's one thing that's I think a little different. Yeah.
So given your genre journey, how what inspires you to write?
I think we all kind of bring our own inspirations to the band.
Right.
There's very few things I think we all necessarily agree on, especially at first. We say Radiohead, but that's kind of just a lowest common denominator situation. I don't know, for me it's a lot of post-hardcore and math rock and stuff like that. My favorite band is Unwound, and I take a lot of my guitar playing from that.
Do you want us to
Yeah,
move
go
down
down
the
the
line?
line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
for
Sure. Yeah, I think bring more of the indie rock side of stuff, but then also I think a lot of my musical kind of inspiration comes from jazz and big band arranging. So I enjoy getting to do some of the like structural thinking. Like a lot of the time I'll listen through something we did at like a rehearsal and I'll be like, oh, like we could like add like a little something there, or like I like this section but maybe we could shorten it down or something. Yeah.
I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of women, like indie women in like the 90s, 80s, maybe even 70s. I don't really know. But like Liz Phair is definitely a big inspiration for me. I also really like Alex G. And I've also taken a lot of inspiration from the Providence Screamo music scene. I didn't know about screaming music at all before I came here. And it really opened my eyes. And Jack was the one who
at the beginning we
to
were
all the
like
shows
show
with
buddies. We'd go to all the shows
Yeah,
at LDS
so
together.
that was awesome.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, the Screamo world is probably still new to me. I don't really know what it's about.
Too
but
scared.
It's true.
Shoved into the wall.
This is accurate. But for me, I mean, I come from a background that's a lot of sort of jazz and funk fusion stuff, as well as a lot of sort of like retro rock singer-songwriter people, folks like Paul Simon, Beatles, Stevie Wonder, etc. So it's been interesting sort of bringing that to this context. So it's a lot of just sort of like seeing where my parts can fit in. I think guitar-wise, I'm a combination of more contemporary folks like Corey Wong and retro folks like the aforementioned Beatles. I also try to sort of bring a sort of vocal harmony element to things as well. So, yeah.
My influence as a player and as like a writer and listener are very different. As a player, a lot of it is my dad, who's also a drummer. Shout out Mecha Bodega or Paul Mueller. But that falls under sort of like a world music fusion thing. A lot of the drumming I do is like West African inspired, especially like Ghanaian High Life, and like Tony Allen is a huge inspiration. In terms of like writing and more of what is happening with this band, there's also a lot of influence from like David Bowie, and then from some electronic music as well. Like someone who just immediately comes to mind is like Arca, is someone who I think has really interesting drum programming that's really fun to translate onto a live kit.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your dream venue on campus to perform at?
The roof of Steiner.
That's
the
Why?
dream. So at the end, a running bit has been at the end of when we're all going to graduate, if the band is going to disband, we want to mimic the Beatles and do a rooftop concert that's going to get shut down by the police.
Yeah, okay, sure.
There's a hatch in the stairwell that leads to the roof. Whether it is open, who knows?
Okay, so there's a
but-
possibility, like there's...
We might sneak
Sure,
up there.
for legal
I
reasons.
think we talked to Brown. I think we
this
talked
is a
to.
joke.
We know someone who has a grappling hook. We can.
This is true.
That you do. What about a collab? Like, is there any band on campus you are going to or want to collab with?
Adeline show is the show will
True.
pass by the time it
That's
airs,
true.
though, I assume.
It's true.
But-
It's a band that me and Ray drum and play bass for. We both drum for. Me and Ray are kind of the backline for that as well. And so we're doing a show, I guess for us, this upcoming Thursday, though by the time that this comes out, it might be long past, where we're gonna do some. I think probably the most ambitious thing that we've tried to do for a show in terms of like musicality and playing. We're gonna do like a combined set in the middle, which I'm super excited for. So
Sounds awesome.
all four guitars.
all four guitars, all four people.
It's gonna be mayhem.
Cool. Does your goose mascot have a name?
Wow, it doesn't. Wow, it doesn't.
Is
No,
there one
yeah.
mascot though?
Not
'Cause there's
really.
King of
Well,
the
our
There's a
profile
lot of
picture.
different. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that's the
it's worth-
front-facing one, or
Yeah.
It's worth
okay.
explaining the origin of those. Was like, I have a sibling who goes to Carnegie Mellon School of Art and like has a circle of art friends, and I texted them like, "Hey, we kind of need some like illustrations for like goose-related stuff," and they and their friends like all got together and like bombarded us with texts of these like little doodles of geese. We have so many of them. We have like 20 of them.
So it's more of like a ever changing goose.
It
egg.
should
Was
have
that
a
one
name, though.
Moz?
No,
No,
I
that
didn't
one
know.
was
That was-
that was a person.
We made
Because we
them
assigned
each
that to
represent
each
one
of us.
We did.
And I don't remember
that
who
didn't
that one
stick.
was.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Who, yeah.
We
It
should
wasn't
name
Ryder because
something
Ryder's
weird,
looked like the
though.
music note. And I don't think it was Mia's because Mia's was the one with the fire that was bright red, right?
You have clearly a much better memory
wow.
of this than I do. So, like,
Really?
I'll take
I don't even remember.
Yeah, you know, my typical, my name's just re-scrolling through old messages.
I think sounds like it.
I like the name
Completely
Gerb,
normal
though.
thing I do.
Or like
I love
jaundice. Something with a J.
Jaundice. Like the like
Yeah,
yellow skin.
Sure. Something with
John.
a
Okay,
J.
okay. Yeah, no, I can get with that. I can get with that.
D's.
Dream venue on Thayer. Any
Thayer.
restaurant or store on Thayer that you could perform at.
What if we played Caliente?
Caliente Show!
That would be huge.
Caliente Show is my dream.
Yeah.
Every single time that we get paid, we'll talk about it, and Mia will be like, "Look, guys, that's like
That's
4
10
Calientes
Calientes."
burritos. Like that's a lot. Like that, you know."
That
So,
would
yeah.
be such a dream with
Maybe
all
they could pay us directly in Caliente burritos.
true.
We get paid in
that's a good
burritos.
idea.
I have to talk
Calientes,
to
if
them
you
about
see
this.
this, hit us up. We are there. We are there.
Biggest fans.
Calientes is the new Louis.
That's true.
So I know that you guys are from New York and New Jersey. Do you think Serious Goose as a band, as an entity, is more New York or New Jersey?
That's a good
Or like Providence.
I
Oh,
mean,
true. Third
we're
option.
definitely more Providence than
Mhm.
either of those.
Yeah.
I've been pushing for more New York shows, but some of us think we can't hang. So
But like, just in terms of like sound influence, I feel like we're most Providence.
Yeah.
Just because
That's
like
fair.
that's what I'm most familiar with. Like
Yeah.
I don't really go to any shows in New York or New Jersey. I'm too busy
Exactly.
like working.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where we've come into our own, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, as someone who comes from like a New York street music place, we're very much not that.
Yeah.
Top 10 things we aren't.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I think we could fit in with the New Brunswick basement scene pretty well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hell yeah.
It'll happen.
Let's do it, yeah.
God will.
Yeah. And finally, the question we've been waiting for:
Mm.
if Serious Goose was a chocolate, what would it be?
Us
I-
collective as a chocolate.
Yeah,
Yes.
band of a chocolate.
Crunch Bars?
I was thinking like one of those. You ever get like an advent calendar and they have those like little gold mint medallions? I feel like that really gives. Because I'm getting mint from us. It really gives like
Like
dark
the-
chocolate and mint.
I
Like
hate
the Olive
those.
Garden.
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
like the
The Andes that is behind it.
yeah, the Andes mints that they give you at Olive Garden.
I was gonna say one of those like.
I don't really like those,
When they're
but
like-
I also think that's a good answer.
I was gonna say one of those like when they're like, oh, it's an artisanal chocolate. It just has too many things in it, where it's like barely chocolate anymore.
Oh.
Like the potato chips,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
throwing everything in and seeing what sticks.
No, it isn't good. We have to be something good.
I think they might all combine to create a picture.
I'd say
It's greater than some
we're a
good spots.
brownie.
Why?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Does that count as a type of chocolate? Not that I'm against the brownie answer, but I'm curious on your
You know,
thoughts.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So,
they're
'cause you
very
can put
liberal with
Yeah,
mixes
there's
in, you know?
ingredients in the brownie.
Actually,
It's
to combine
modular,
it, to
you know?
combine like ideas. You know the like brookies with the Oreo top of the.
Oh, a
true.
slutty brown. We're the
So
slutty
we're on
brown.
radio. so we're on radio.
Yeah,
But yes.
Final answer.
slutty brownie.
I think
And
that's
okay, finally, is there anything you guys would like to plug coming up?
Album.
Yes.
Yeah, an album.
The album.
Yes.
Yeah.
The album is coming out on the 18th
Mhm.
of April. It might already
when-
be out.
Yeah, when does this come out?
Hopefully before then.
Hopefully before
Cool.
then.
Well,
Alrighty.
Album out.
You can already check
10
out.
songs.
You can already check out the single "Heal" is on Spotify. There will be another single on Friday,
Which you know.
which will probably beat this interview, but you know.
What's the name of the album?
The album is called "Say Something That'll Last."
Well,
It'll
this will
probably
be
be
out
up by then.
there.
And then also, if this is out before album release show on
Yeah.
the 17th, the night of the 17th.
Nice.
It's true.
So hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Album release show.
Yeah.
And gigs on
Big
the green.
things
Oh,
coming.
Will
Gigs
also
on
be
the
a gig.
green.
Gigs on the
Yay.
green.
Wow.
Exciting
So we'll see
stuff.
you everywhere.
All right.
That's a secret.
Instagram. What's your Instagram?
SeriousGoose.pvd.
Mhm.
True.
Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for coming to talk to
Thank
us.
Thank you for having us.